what makes it that your personal brand is either skippable or stop scrolling. Because you want to be on the side where you are not the basic, boring personal brand. You are the iconic one. You're the one that people remember. You're the one that stops to scroll. You are the one that gets people obsessed with you, because you don't want to feel like you're constantly fighting just to stay relevant or just for people to pay attention to you online. And so, coming from someone who is a personal brand strategist and who has created multiple strategies across so many different fields and so many different businesses, I'm here to spill the tea, give you what exactly works and what doesn't, and also some of my personal take on what the fuck makes a personal brand fucking boring and basic versus one that is literally irresistible, that attracts your premium best fucking clients on repeat, and that simply gets your content to actually stand out. Welcome back to the Power of Personal Branding and Manifestation podcast with your host. It is me, Malika. Happy Tuesday, girlies. Oh my god. Also, if you have not seen some of my recent Instagram posts, the event that I was invited to speak at was absolutely phenomenal. So amazing. So many driven women there. So many business owners, and it was just such an amazing experience. What makes your personal brand skippable versus stop scrolling? First of all, why it feels like nowadays it literally feels like it's so oversaturated, or it almost feels harder to stand out in the sea of content, right? Because I was thinking about this the other day, and how much when you are posting online, when you're showing up online, I see it time and time again where a lot of people feel that way. They feel like it's so oversaturated. It's really hard to just get noticed out there. And I'm here to tell you, this is actually not the case. The market is not too oversaturated. There's not too much content. The market is only ever feeling too saturated when you become part of the saturation. Okay, so what I mean by this is that if you become part of an extension of what everybody else is doing, or another online presence that you love, that you start becoming similar to, then you kind of are just replicating something that already exists. And when that happens, that's when you become part of the saturation. Okay, and so when you can truly create your own world, that is what makes your personal brand stop scrolling. That's what makes it impossible for people to skip it, because you are literally creating a whole ass new world. And so you are not adding on to the saturation. Does that make sense? And so when you are marketing your offer, your service, the way that you show up, and your content in a way that is so unlike anyone else, then of course it's going to feel much fucking easier to stand out much fucking faster. You're not playing by someone else's rules, and you're not just converting to whatever you're seeing out there. You're just being so deeply rooted in you and in your business and in what you do and in your personal brand. Okay, so let's just dive right in. Okay, so the first thing, oh my god, that I really have to bring up, having you coded presence. Okay, so what this means is essentially is to truly make it so unmistakably yours. It is so you. It's so your vibe, it's so your voice, it's so you. Does that make sense, right? And so I feel like it's so easy to get stuck into other people's world, to be stuck in oh my god, comparing your content. Oh my god, this coach is doing this. Or, oh my god, this service provider is posting this, so I should post like this, right? Or, oh, I like what they're doing, so I'm gonna start doing that too. And it's there's so much things to consume ourselves around that we forget that what makes you so iconic is the fact that you can stay rooted in you. That's what makes your presence so iconic, is when you are not watering yourself down, not diluting yourself down, and you're not taking on all these different traits and personality from everybody else, right? Because that becomes very inconsistent, and that doesn't make your best fucking client, your premium client ready to invest in you, stop the scroll and be like, oh my God, that is exactly the girl I've been dying to find. Like, that is exactly the vibe I'm going for. That is exactly the kind of person I want, right? Like, because there is that sense of feeling of like affinity and wanting to really find like your people, right? And like, how can someone find you as their perfect match if you're not showing up in a way that's so coded to you, right? And I see this a lot, especially when clients first come to me and they're like, okay, like I really like, for example, I really like this girl's page, or I really like how they do this, or I really like this. And that's okay to like know what you like and what you don't like. But what you don't want is to take on someone else's personal brand, because then it becomes unoriginal. Once again, we become part of the saturation, which we do not want. And listen, like I feel like there's such a thing with like women that like we are so not meant to fit in a box. Like we are so not meant to fit in a box, to be like so restricted to like this one way of doing things. This is exactly why I feel like a lot of people start burning out from content, or feel uninspired, or like they can't like keep up with like posting. And that is because of that. It's because when you are doing it in a way that is not aligned for you, and not aligned for your like feminine energy and your creativity, then of course it's going to feel draining, right? And the thing about content is that if you are bored with your content, or if you are disliking creating your content, well, chances are your audience is also feeling the same way as well. And so that is why it is so important to bring that energy to the table, to be creating also your content in a space where you are so excited about it, you are so excited to share it, and it works with your energy. Like it's not like you're trying to fit this box that you should be this one way, because literally I'm bored. Like you are not here to have a boring ass personal brand, okay? Because that gets skipped really fucking fast. Now, the next thing about this is actually to start bringing out your personality way fucking more, and way more your like main character energy. Because like, for example, when your clients are working with you, when they're already in the room with you, when they can feel your energy, like they love, they love having the conversation with you. They can see how amazing you are. They can feel the connection. They can experience what it's like to be your client, right? And so all of these things are all added elements that truly adds to what you have to offer. And so how can we take this and put it into your personal brand? Because you are not a boring ass bitch. You are not a boring ass girl. That is why you are here, okay? And so the question that we need to ask ourselves is, okay, like how are we going to take this, all this that you can be in person, and start adding that way fucking more in your content? Because I promise you, that is part of the secret sauce that will get your dream best fucking client to stop scrolling on you. To be like, holy shit, this is unlike anything else I've seen. Now, one of the biggest things that truly differentiate like a boring personal brand from one that is so iconic and that is literally impossible to ignore has to be your messaging. It stops the scroll. It gets people to say like, oh my God, wait, I actually really need to hear what the fuck she has to say. I really actually have to stay for this piece of content. And that actually gets people to binge your content over and over again has to be the way that you formulate your hook. Because there's one specific mistakes with hooks that I see quite a lot that is actually costing established CEOs and rising CEOs to leave money on the table, and also get their dream client to not get past the 5 seconds mark. And it's not because their content is not good enough, and it's not because it's not valuable, or that it's not insightful, or like that it's not a match for their dream client, but it is actually simply that the hook isn't doing what it's supposed to do. Meaning, it's not building curiosity. It's not like building up the person for why they should care or why this matters to them. Okay. And so this is something so important that I see like being skipped over time and time again. Which, you know, obviously, like when you're doing a hook, you're like thinking like, okay, like this, what's going to stop the scroll? For example, let's say you are a sales coach and you are creating a piece of content and your hook is, this is the number one mistake that is killing your sales that most coaches or service providers are doing. Okay, now, yes, we are saying in this that this is killing your sales, but I don't know why I should care. And I also don't know why I am like most people. Like, I probably think that I'm not like most people. Like, you know what I mean? Or I also have something else. So, for example, saying everything in your hook. So, let me give you an example. Let's say I say, take the word can't out of your vocabulary, because let's say I am a mindset coach or a manifestation coach, and I'm saying this is basically my hook, how I start. Like, take the word can't out of your vocabulary. Well, right away, this is kind of giving everything away at once. And so even though this is good, yes, to bring up your point, this part should not be the hook. This part should actually be in the explanation part, and then the hook should be what builds up for the explanation. Does that make sense? And so these are things that is very common in the content creation realm, especially, you know, when you're doing like fast-paced content and shorter form content on Instagram, on TikTok. Like, people are scrolling so fast, you know what I mean? And so you know, they need to know like why they should care. They need like a messaging that is spicy, that is like, that has personality, that has your personality, and that has your personal brand stamp on it. That is exactly the thing that makes it, first of all, not just recognizable, but like truly like irresistible, because it stands out, it stops the scroll. And so most of the time, it's not that you need more visibility, it's actually that you just need better messaging. Now, the next thing for this is storytelling, because all great personal brands are built on stories, okay? Because people remember stories, and your story is literally the foundation upon which your personal brand is built upon, okay? And that includes that you are a service provider, or that you are a coach, or, you know, that your story is basically the transformation that you offer, or that your story is simply tied to why you started your business. This is why it matters so much for people to connect with it, and also being able to like not just tell your story, but weaponize it so that it literally becomes your biggest assets when it comes to your personal brand, and it starts selling you. For example, okay, this woman, and she told me how she is, you know, she's a young mom, she has 2 babies, and she was actually in an abusive relationship, that she was married with a man, and she actually got the chance to divorce this person and start building a business that like would make her children proud, you know. And this girl is very young, like this girl is younger than me, okay? And that like when she first told me this, she was like, I feel like she was almost embarrassed to tell me this, like, you know, that she was that young, like 20, 21. She has 2 babies, and that she was divorcing this guy who was like abusive with her and super narcissistic with her. And then I was like, when she told me that, I was like, like this needs to be on your Instagram. Like this story is such a bigger part of your mission, of such a bigger part of why what you're doing now matters to you, right? And to her surprises, when she told me this, she realized that in like the room that we were in, like out of the 4 women that were there were 3 of us who also has been through something very similar in terms of narcissistic relationship, myself included. And so you see, like your story is truly like what will make someone resonate with you a lot more and pick you a lot more over someone else. Because the more unhinged you can truly be with your story, like the more memorable you become and the more powerful your brand becomes. And that's truly when it becomes unskippable. Like you're like, holy shit, like this coach, this is her story. Like you not only remember a lot fucking more, you become so memorable, but also you start pulling in your best premium client is actually willing to either pay for that transformation or have someone just match the level of authenticity that they are looking for as well. Because even when you are half telling your story, it will never hit as hard as when you are telling it for real with being super unfiltered and super raw. Okay, because let's say I start off with, this is an example for a client of mine. So not even 2 years ago, I was in one of the worst places of my life. Very broad, very like, what is the place? You know what I mean? And that is way too generic. And if I start off instead with, I was so broke, I couldn't even afford food. Holy shit. Like now you have my attention. Now I'm like, what? Like, what's the tea? Like, what do you mean? Right? And so when you can be so memorable with your story, like your personal brand, like inevitably becomes unskippable. Inevitably becomes like stop scrolling. The reason your content is not making your premium client drool all over it, it's not because it's not valuable or that you're not skilled enough or that you're missing this like magical skill. It's literally just because you might just be following kind of like a cookie cutter content strategy, and cookie cutter content strategy only give you basic results, okay? And that is not why we're here for, okay? Because you don't want to be spending all these hours creating content for it to be skipped, even though you are literally so talented and you are literally one of the best at what you do, okay? You can show that you are a master at what you can do, and your content truly shows that, and you have true consistency in your content to show that. That is when your calendar starts filling up really fucking fast. That is when you get irresistible demand. This was my little breakdown for today. I hope you guys loved it. If you did, make sure to share it to your story, share it to a friend that you know would absolutely love this. And as always, I will meet you here next week. Thanks so much for tuning in, and don't forget to leave your 5-star rate and review on the podcast. I love to know what you guys think of the episodes, and I will meet you here next week.